I challenge you, Susan, to find for the next 10 days or 1 week, celebrate something every single day. I was reading an article last night when I got home, and it was talking about Paul Maurice, the head coach for the Florida Panthers. And Paul Maurice has this new way of dealing with the hockey players. We always heard of Generation Z. I believe that's what we're dealing with now. And he was talking about how do we motivate these players. And so his coaching staff, I believe when he was back with the Winnipeg Jets before he decided to step down, they lost in the playoffs. And so then they had their meetings and they said, okay, we're going to meet every day, Monday to Thursday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we want to focus on how did we do after our video session with the hockey team. Okay. And so what happens is that, so the team plays and then good, bad, and the ugly. And then they go through, they do the video clips. And then the next day they show the video clips. And so they had 3 distinctions on these video clips. It'd be like, this is a teaching clip, this is a negative clip, and this is a positive clip. And then they wanted to find from the data after they showed these clips, how was the team's performance? How was the individual performance afterwards? And you could probably already imagine where I'm going with this, right? So what they found was that if they had a video clip on one player making 5 bad plays, and it just happened to be that one player, but they were using it as a teaching module. Well, what they found is that that player either stepped up his game or fell off, right? So it was either one or the other. It wasn't the same. They also found that when they did a lot of positive clips, things that the team was doing well, individuals that were doing well, showcasing a fancy move, a big hit, a good forecheck, a nice face-off, a great shot, that the team's performance went up the next time. And from all this data, they found that it was really quite interesting that more positive clips got more positive reaction or better gameplay the next day. So what does that really mean? And does that really mean that all we should be doing with this new generation is talking positively to our kids, just saying to them all the time, what a great job. But when do you add correction in? When do you do correction? Now, my philosophy, what I've been learning is that you do the cookie effect. Good, correct, good. So as you're speaking to someone, you try to say something good, then you try to correct whatever needs to be corrected, and then you try to move on as well. They interviewed a lot of hockey players, NHL players, about the findings of this data. And some of the players were like, well, that's fine, but I need to be yelled at sometimes. I need my butt to be kicked. Now, that doesn't mean that I want my butt to be kicked all the time. And some coaches try to ridicule you in front of other players. So-and-so players doing this, so-and-so players doing that. Well, you know, he's talking directly to you.
Yeah.
Players don't like that. Some players need that. You're a much better hockey player than what you're demonstrating today. You need to step up. You need to this, and this.
They like the adrenaline.
Some players do. Some players need that kick in the pants.
Yeah, exactly. That's super interesting.
Right? Yeah. But on the flip side of it, you don't want to be saying, wow, look how great you are, where you boost the person's ego to the point where they don't perform anymore. So there's a fine line reading the article, listening to a response from other NHL hockey players, that we are moving towards more of that, maybe that cookie effect. But the cookie could be a double stack cookie. Good, good, correct, good, good. And then there could be that time where you do need that wake up, time to wake up.
Yeah.
But then you go back to that cookie effect again.
I want to respond to a few things there. When I was leading teams of software developers, the way you treat one person, you're speaking to multiple audiences at the same time. The person that you're speaking to hears the message a certain way, and the people that you're not speaking to also hear a message, whether you intend to or not. This happens both in like an individual context, like you can have a one-on-one with somebody, and it also happens in when you have a team meeting or even on our chat, a messenger or Slack application. there's this, I'm going to say performativity, and performativity is often used as a negative word, but you are being watched as a leader. And the message that you send to one is perceived by all, and it's not always perceived in the same way. You talked about the positive and negative. The positives are, depending on the context, depending on the people, as you point out, really big motivator. Oh, I want to get one of those, and that motivates them. But in terms of giving negative, I try and do that privately. You don't do that in a large group setting. And then you say, here's an opportunity for you to do better. Usually people want to be promoted. They're looking for the raise, they're looking for the promotion. So you can say, here's what we're looking for, or the check boxes that you need to be able to tick. These are the behaviors that we're looking for in order to get there. And so that's where you have the feedback. You say, you're here now, you need to get there. Here's how you can do it. You did this last week. That's not what we're looking for to get you to the next level. And here's how you can get to the next level.
Exactly.
And the flip side is when somebody doesn't reach the next level, when they're not doing it. It's the same kind of coaching. It's the same kind of feedback. It's the same kind of support and that you provide to them. But if they don't clean up their act, it's really important to let them go. Because that also sends a message to the team about what you're looking for. So if somebody is not doing a good job, if they're not kind to other people, and whatever that you've been wanting them to improve on, you tell them you want improvement, you've coached them for a while and they're not improving, it's like, we need to part ways. And there's a number of different things you can say. You can say things like, I'm not bringing out the best in you. The opportunity that I have for you here is not one that is the one that you need right now. Do you think you would be happier in another situation? And letting people go can take different forms. It could be moving them to a different team in the same company, or it could be saying, it's up to you. We're going to part ways. How do you want to do it?
I agree with you with what you're saying. And for me to try to find passionate hockey player staff members who want to teach, and it's difficult because I think a lot of young people that come to us, obviously it's more younger people than the seniors, they come to me saying, oh, I love hockey, or the parents would say, my son loves hockey, my daughter loves playing hockey, and they want to potentially maybe play as long as they can. They'd be a great fit for your hockey school. They got great skills, and that list goes on and on. So, and everyone has that list. So can they do the job, or will they do the job, or do they have the skills to do the job? And majority of the time it's yes, it's a yes. Now there's still a lot of growing on how to teach and all that. But once they get to the rink and they're like, some of them, it's like, this is not my wheelhouse. This is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to figure that out very quickly. Yes.
Yeah, I've seen this, like, because I've seen your leaders on the assistant coaches, the young folks on the ice, and most of them, they're great, right? But you'll have one where it's not their passion, right? So there'll be some interludes where in between drills, or where something is happening that there's not a thing that they have to do at the moment. So they get to, there's some free choice at that time. And somebody who falls in this category of they're not passionate about the hockey, they'll go off by themselves and take a few shots. They'll dribble the puck, or they're doing something for themselves. Whereas somebody who's passionate about the hockey, they're going over to the kids and they're teasing them, or they're talking to them, or they're providing some kind of direction for them.
They're engaged. They're engaged. And I know that whenever we get new staff and they come to me and they ask me, what do you want me to do? I said, well, you're not going to be leading the class, so you can bring that stress level down right now. I'm not putting you out in front. You don't have to teach the power skating, or you're not going to be myself on the front stage. I said, but that's where I want you to go. Like, one day I like you to be on that front stage. That's how I want to build you up. But where are we going to start? Disengage. Number one, get to know 3 players out here, their first name, give them your first name, and find out where they played. Where do you play hockey? What do you like about hockey? Ask them 3 simple questions. Get to know them. And the ones that we find, the staff members that are engaged that way, And then we can start to help. I said, well, how do you run your drill better? I want you to be engaged and do the drill with the kids. Just don't stand in the corner like this. Next, go, next, go. Well, there's two things about that. Number one, you're not engaged. Number two, the kids aren't learning anything. And number three, everyone's going to have a crappy time. However, if you're doing the drill, even if you don't know what to say, you'll figure out what to say. You'll see something. Oh, keep your hands out in front. Try this with the puck. Open up your stance. All that little things will help that kid take their game to the next level. And then what we do is that we'll come around and we'll give them a platform. Okay, you need 3 steps, minimum 3 steps to run that drill. And then, but us, I know that James and myself, we probably have 10 steps, maybe even more. So as we could, that's just experience, right? As we go through. And we just start to help them. The ones that want to be there and want to grow, they buy into it very quickly and we can teach and grow. And then the other ones that don't, man, you could work with them all summer and get nowhere. And I've tried to explain that to other staff members with Hockey Extreme. We can't teach them. It's not like they're non-teachable. It's just not where they want to be.
It's not the wheelhouse. That's not
no, it's not, right? So
that's not
that's
how
okay.
they
Yeah, and that's okay, right? We have 2 brothers, both very good hockey players, both very good hockey players. The one, no, not for him. You could just tell. It was just not for him. The other brother loved it, just loved it.
Yeah.
So everyone's different, and you have to treat everyone as an individual when they come in. So it's interesting. So what's interesting is that I'm going to go back to Darcy's hockey team, and her house league coach, just call him Coach Chris, was amazing. And he would come up to me and he says, Dave, I know you know your hockey. And obviously you've been teaching it for 30 years, you've been playing it for even a longer time. You should be the one coaching. I said, I'm not going to coach. I'm learning from you. What are you going to learn from me? I said, you're the most passionate dad coach on this team. You are the most fun-loving guy out here. I said, when you come in, you're jolly, you're happy. The girls are all engaged. We're all engaged. I'm learning so much from you. And at the end of the game, every girl gets an opportunity to pick out a star. Who was the star of the game today? So everyone's picking it. It's not you. And then you have something good to say about other players that may not have been picked. You make everyone feel good. And then whoever gets picked, the jersey gets handed around. I said to Chris at the end one day, do you ever keep track how many so-and-so has the jersey, the gold jersey, it's the MVP for that game? Just no, you can just tell. You just know. We just spread it around. And I've learned so much from him. It's kind of getting back to that Paul Maurice study, right? Yeah. And I feel that the correction could be more of a team correction rather than an individual correction. We're kind of having a hard time getting out of our end. Maybe we should try this. You don't have to point out that this player can't get the puck out. Makes that player go like this and probably never wants to touch the puck again or even go on the ice again, right? But if you say it more of a team, and then what you had talked about, having that one-on-one separately, and maybe saying to them, there's a lot more, is everything okay? Are you playing well enough? Maybe we can work on some more stick handling skills. Here, let's give you some homework exercises. And if you do this 5 minutes every day, it's probably going to help improve your game. What do you think?
This is very much work in progress for me as a coach. Coming in and being enthusiastic, and took a lot of work. It's not something I naturally do. I'm naturally introverted. I'm naturally very cerebral. I like sitting at my computer and writing. That's my idea of a good time. So going into a room full of boys who are 13 years old, like, I know my boy and I know how to motivate him, but the rest of these boys, they are space aliens sometimes. I don't know what they like. I know their names. I know exactly what they can do on the ice and what they can't do. Also, having the one-on-one conversations, I didn't do that enough as a coach. So that's work in progress. My giving them the compliments, right? I need to be more specific in the compliments. I would do fine when I say, oh, you did great today. but I really liked how you move that puck is much better, right? Because it shows that I'm paying attention to you. And what does every human being want? It's to be seen, it's to be known, right? And that's the transition from a generic compliment like good job. And I like how you did that. One thing that I didn't use at all, I used it once very late in the season, is incorporating parents, because parents are really your partners. I had some bad behavior. I was trying to correct it all season and I couldn't do it. And I finally got fed up with the guy. And I took him in front of his dad and I said, he's doing X, he needs to stop. And of course, it wasn't a positive interaction, but I learned something from that, which is parents are your partners sometimes, right? You're going to tell me an opposite story because you've been doing this long enough. People at work, they're motivated by salary. Kids, I can't pay them. There's no salaries. Maybe I can motivate them, but also your parents, they can help motivate the kids. And you don't have that in a corporate setting. You don't have this back channel where you can talk to another person. Can you help me make this person better?
It's so true. How do we motivate the kids? How do we motivate staff? How do we motivate? That's the challenge of the leader, the coach, the person who's out in front. And it's up to us to try to figure that out. And every individual is different. Every team member is different. Every coworker is different. How you communicate and talk to them can be very, very different. And it even comes back to some players need a ass kicking and other ones just want to be smoothed over. So yeah, it's a fine line. The hockey jersey was the reward. I know for Darcy and even for myself, our reward was going to McDonald's afterwards and having a sundae or an ice cream or something after every game on the Tuesday. The other reward that the girls really enjoyed after the game was playing with each other for about a half an hour or so. So they really enjoyed that connection with each other. And what you learn is that hockey was really the vehicle of bringing them together, where I enjoyed the on ice game. And I think all of them enjoyed the game, but they really enjoyed the off ice, the connection of being off ice together too, right? So yeah, it's interesting. And as the coach, I found myself evaluating all the time. I am constantly watching each and every individual in that dressing room. And because I know is everything okay, Daddy? Or what are you thinking about? I'm always watching and evaluating that everyone is connected, everyone's included, everyone feels in a good spot. And if they're not, let's find out what's going on. Maybe it's easy to maybe find out what that situation is, and sometimes it's not. Maybe it could be something at home. Maybe it could be something at school. Maybe it could be something they were bullied. Maybe we don't know what it is. Maybe their pet died. We need to find those things out.
There's certain questions that are easy to ask. Like kids like answering questions they know the answers to. They hate questions they don't know the answer to. So if you come up to them and you ask them something hard from their point of view, they just withdraw. But there's certain questions like, oh, do you have any pets? Do you have any brothers or sisters? Do you get along with them? What's your favorite subject? Or do you like school? Or what do you do other than hockey? So these are all like conversation openers. And I find as an introvert, it's useful to have like a short list of questions to get things going when I don't know what to say.
And kids, like you said, they want to know the answers, the simple ones, because some of them are going to be sitting there super nervous and they don't want any questions. And even
I'm nervous.
Yeah, even the simple one is, hi, I'm Coach Dave. What's your name? You can tell that they're really super nervous. I know you know your name. How do you spell it? That's always a great one. How do you spell your name? What's the name of your teacher? It's the simple ones, right? Do you have any pets, things that they love? Yes, we do. Oh, what do you have? What's your pet's name? And little things. Do you ever have anything funny happen with the pets? Or do you ever watch those funny videos with the pets? And then there's other kids, man, you can't keep them quiet. They just come out gangbusters.
Yeah.
It's great. They're all great. And we're just trying to help them all move forward and build their confidence and just be part of that team, be connected, who am I on this hockey team? What do I do to this hockey team? And the ones that score all the goals, well, that's easy. And the ones that are in net, well, that's easy. And the ones in between, yeah, a couple of them understand their roles, and then other ones they don't understand their roles, and they need to kind of have that explained to them or help them out and guide them
Yeah.
along the way. That it's okay not to be the top scorer. It's okay not to be what you think you need to be. You just need to be yourself and just try the best you can every game. That's it.
Yeah.
But they need to hear that all the time.
I was thinking about what you're saying about assessing all the time.
Yes.
I fall into that trap that when I'm assessing, I don't really see the player as a whole person. I see what they can't do. And I'm not sure where I picked up this idea. It might be from a book, but in terms of the growth mindset, you're trying to improve all the time, right? But there's the gap and then there's the gain. Actually, there's the gain and the gap. So the gain is how far you've come, and the gap is how far you have to go.
Mhm.
And when you are trying to constantly improve, you focus too much on the gap and not enough on the gain. And this has been a request that I got here at home from my husband, that I'm always focusing on the gap. He wants me to celebrate the gains. And the spirit is willing and I'm trying, but sometimes my celebration is not as heartfelt as he would like it to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you ask the question, how would you like to celebrate? How would you like to celebrate these games? We don't need to go away on a vacation. That's every kid's dream. Let's go to Disney World. Unfortunately, us parents don't have that kind of bank account. Well, I know I don't, but
Yeah.
to go
Even,
weekly, right?
yeah, it doesn't have to be big. It can be
No. Yes.
like the ice cream, or it's like, you did a really good job this week,
Mhm.
right? You did a lot of things right. That we should remember this. You should give yourself a gold star. Just the acknowledgement that something was accomplished.
Absolutely. We go to the keg prior to COVID. We used to go to the keg quite often, and we always show up. And our server used to ask us, "What are you celebrating?" And it's so easy to say we're not celebrating anything. The easier answers are anniversary and birthdays, because they're right there in front of you. And you say, yes, I'm celebrating my birthday. I'm celebrating Darcy's birthday. What you're coming to, I remember we went to the keg last time, and the girl came up to us and she said, "What are you guys celebrating?" And both my girls said, "Nothing." I said, "Really? We're celebrating. There's always something good to celebrate. What are we celebrating? It's Friday. We're alive. We had a great week. We wrote a great test. I cut the grass." As simple as that. We're enjoying life. We're preparing for the weekend. We're going scootering on Sunday or something like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's practice. And I do agree that I find myself, I think it must be just human nature. You find easy to find fault everywhere. So I just take a look at my house. Oh, I need to paint that. I need to fix the fan. And that list is endless. And I think we also do it with people too. We
Mhm.
also do it with the ones that we care about the most. We're constantly evaluating and trying to close their gaps. And I don't think they like it.
And ourselves too, right?
Yes. Yes, ourselves too. And we do need to celebrate a lot more
Yeah.
every day, even 2 minutes. What was great about today? And I try to ask Darcy, what was funny at school today? Because as kids, they have a lot more funnier moments than I feel in probably as adults who are super serious, right?
Mhm.
What was funny today? Because I think she's always waiting for the question, what did you learn? Did you write any tests? How'd you do in your test? Those are the questions that we always get asked, rather than something completely different. Did you have art today? What'd you draw? What'd you draw in art class today? How about music class? How do you guys sound today? You know, so yeah, I think it'd be great practice. I challenge you, Susan, to find for the next 10 days or 1 week, celebrate something every single day.
Oh. Okay, let me make this harder. I have to celebrate it out loud, and I have to celebrate it for more than 5 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. Because I do in my head go, oh, that's really nice, or that's cool, but it's gone right away, right? it needs its own space, right? It needs to occupy more than that fleeting moment.
Absolutely. It's the same thing as in hockey when we're teaching hockey. You just can't say, oh, that was a great game out there. Oh, nice work. What a hustle. You need to be a little bit more specific. And I think with your family members, rather than looking at the TV or looking at your phone or looking at your iPad, you need to kind of put those aside and look the person right in the eyes and saying, wow, I love you. I
Yes.
really do love you.
Yeah.
Oh, why? Thank you. No, you know why I love you? Because we're doing all this work outside and you're helping without being asked. I really love that. I like how you just take charge. Keep doing that. I appreciate that. Well, what if I screw up? Who cares? Screw up big. At least you're doing something.
All right, I accept that challenge.
All right. Awesome. Well, me too. I have to do the same. So, and it's very simple to do it for one day. And then, so I got a calendar upstairs and I'm going to mark down each day, starting today. Today's day one. And we'll do it, say, for 1 week till next Wednesday. We'll see how we do.
Okay. Okay. We'll do it for 1 week and then we'll come back and talk about it next.
Okay. Sounds great.
Okay. I have a couple of questions for you, and these can balloon into big topics. In major league sports, so like the NHL, when things go wrong, they get rid of the coach.
Mhm.
They do it at the end of the season. They also do it in the middle of the season.
Mhm.
What's the thinking behind that? My hypothesis is they can't get rid of the whole team, so they get rid of one person that they think will make a difference.
Mhm. And you're absolutely right. So whether it's a business, you can't fire all the employees, right? So they get rid of the person at the top. It's the leader. And if you're looking for a quick change, and the coach is the easiest way to change the team, it's the one person that is in that dressing room having a direct influence on how things are changing in there. So a new voice, a new outlook, a new way of doing things. Hockey's still X's and O's, and it's up and down the ice. The nets don't change, players don't change. You got a goalie, you got forwards, you got defense. And I'm gonna say it, all the pro sports, these players are smart. They know their game. They know their
Yeah.
game. But really it comes down
Yes.
to motivation. It's motivation, right? It's how are you motivating these players? And maybe if the team's not winning, the easiest way to do it is to change the coach. And that's really where they are. So are the Toronto Maple Leafs, is that where you're going? Are they going to change their head coach, Sheldon Kennedy? Don't know.
Let's talk a little bit about what you just said first, and then we'll do the
Sure.
Maple Leafs. I don't
Okay.
want to open up too big a can of worms when it comes to the Leafs.
Okay.
So, like, so I want to pick up on something you said, which was these are professionals. They know what they're doing. They have the skills. They can do it. And so why does the motivation make a difference?
That's a great question. If I'm to kind of look at that, I feel that it's just the way that we've been brought up ever since we've been starting hockey at, say, 5 years old. And as we were going up, we've been coached. We've always been coached along the ways. And it comes to the point where you have to self-motivate yourself. And there's a lot of players that it's hard to self-motivate yourself every single game, in and out, in and out. And it's a lot easier to motivate yourself probably as a group or a team. And in addition to that, then you have your coach that has to lead you. So it's a whole team atmosphere of getting yourself onto the ice as we go, right? Or the playing field, or whatever, the basketball court, the way that it is. So the money is the biggest influence, obviously, in pro sports, whether you're making $100,000 or $100 million. But those people, those players are still people. They're still individuals. They still need to be motivated. They still need to go through a routine that tries to get to their optimal performance every single time.
Mhm.
And that coach is the coach that's evaluating. We talked about evaluating people. We do it all the time. We do it with our family members. We do it with ourselves. And hey, they're just people. Some of them need a little bit extra help to kind of get through a rough spot. Maybe they're not scoring as they should have. Maybe they're not hitting the baseball as many times as they would like to. And we've seen professional baseball players get in slumps. No one wants to be in a slump, right? But how do you get out? I think coaches help that. Coaches really do
That's
help those players get out.
that's super interesting, right? And this is one of the things I puzzle through, because as a coach, I'm not on the ice, right? Once they get out on the ice, I can't do anything for them other than yell at them, right? Everything that I've given to them, they have it already. You're off, you're on the ice. And I think the idea that even a professional player has a better chance of getting the puck in the net because the coach said the right thing is really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So some players you don't have to motivate or you don't have to push. We always heard about Wayne Gretzky. He was really self-motivated. He was driven to be the best that he could. And I'm not saying Wayne is the only player. I think there's a lot of players, majority of the players are that way. However, you know what? We're just human behind all that equipment and that mask and the skates that we put on or whatever uniform that happens to be. And when we go out, sometimes things don't work the way that we want it to. It's not that we weren't prepared. Something's not working here. What's going on? And it's nice to have another set of eyes helping to evaluate us and to help us get back up to that performance that we should be able to perform at each and every game.
I think of when I work out with a trainer versus when I work out with myself, by myself, right? I'm pretty self-motivated, but if on the program it says 10 push-ups, I do 10 push-ups and I'm done, right? But with a trainer, he can see that I've got more in the tank. And he'll say, give me some more. And I think that's what is happening. It's like, I can take myself this far, but with the right people around me, I can go farther.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think the big word that we hear in the NHL these days, and maybe with other sports as well, is called pushback. Pushback. And we keep hearing this word pushback, pushback, pushback. I don't know, maybe I wasn't listening before, but it's really this year it's come out like you hear it all the time, right? The Winnipeg Jets, we had no pushback. Rick Bowness. Whenever we were challenged, we didn't push back. And I hear about the Toronto Maple Leafs. We didn't have any pushback against the Florida Panthers this year. And are the Toronto Maple Leafs more skilled than Florida? On paper, not taking away anything of the skills of the Florida Panther, but probably on paper, the Toronto Maple Leafs are more skilled than the Florida Panthers are. But there wasn't that pushback as you go through. Well, then all of a sudden, when does it become redundant to hear you need to push back? You need to push back. Yeah, we've heard this. We need something new. This is where the coach has to be very good at changing verbiage or tone or maybe body language or videos or whatever it is to help these players become better at closing that gap as they go through. Do the Toronto Maple Leafs need to go out and drop the gloves and start fighting? No. But I think what the Toronto fans were looking for is a little fight back, that just little extra push. But is it in their character to do that? No. But maybe is it in their character to learn how to do it as a team? One guy goes in, we all go in.
In my context, pushback is somebody asks you to implement something and it's not a good idea. Pushback is when you say that's not a good idea as opposed to just doing what you've been told. But during the playoffs, you made a comment about the Leafs, which was in the second round, they weren't playing playoff hockey. Now, what did you mean by that? For someone who doesn't play sports.
Right. So playoff hockey, we all know that something's going to be on the line. There's a championship on the line. You have to win 4 games to move on to the next round or to win that championship. And everyone is playing a little bit more grittier. Everyone's playing a little bit more contact. They're trying to get away and bend those rules a little bit more because they know that if they don't win, then the season's over. The regular season is 82 games. The best game that I probably saw this year with the Toronto Maple Leafs was right after the All-Star break, where the players had, I don't know how many days off, 7 days off, whatever they had off. Well, they came back, they were motivated, they were flying out there. It was up and down. Hockey was fast paced. And then all of a sudden, I think what happens in regular season, it just It's game in, game out, game in, game out, game in, game out. Different city, different town, different airplane, different bus, different hotel. And I think the players wake up, don't even know half the time where they are, what city they're in. Where are we? Who are we
Yeah.
playing tonight?
Yeah.
It's that redundancy over and over. But in the playoffs, it's not. We're playing the same team, and we're going to play them for minimum 4 games, potentially 7. And all of a sudden, you start to have this kind of hatred towards the other team. Not a bad way, but in a way that that guy's aggravating me. He keeps getting in my way. He's slashing me, cross-checking me, because we're trying to gain an advantage. And that's the way the playoffs are. Even in basketball, it's a little bit more harder, pusher, in your face. And I'm not a big basketball person, but you can see it in the playoffs. It's a tougher game. The playoffs is a tougher game. And I think Kyle Dubas went out this year to try to acquire more players with that tougher, a little bit more toughness that he could add to the lineup for Sheldon Kennedy.
Interesting. I think it's the difference between, so when you're saying in the playoffs, it's like it gets personal, right? I'm playing for something that I care about, and I'm playing you, as opposed to I'm showing up and doing my job.
Mm-hmm.
You want fries with that?
Well, let me ask you this. When you're playing any game, do you want to win or lose? Do you want to win or lose? So I think in the regular season, most of these teams are like, okay, we're gearing towards 100 points. The 100 points in the NHL is kind of like you're in the playoffs. And if you're 90 to 99, it's a hit and miss. If you're 100 and above, you're in. That's kind of where the threshold is. That's kind of the threshold. So the teams kind of know that, well, this week, I'm just analyzing, they have 5 games. Okay, the next 5 games or 8 games, we have to win 6 out of 8 or 4 out of 8 or whatever it is. And they know that if they win the next 6 out of 8, they're moving forward. They're going to hit that 100-point plateau. And so what happens is that if they lose a game or whatever, well, we got a new team coming up. So their goal is a little bit differently. But in the playoffs, we're playing towards the Stanley Cup. Yeah, I watched my daughter Darcy play in the championship game. The players were going a lot harder in that game. They knew something was on the line. They didn't want to lose either team. So I think it's just part of who we are. We're very competitive and we don't want to lose.
So my house league team, we won the regular season. We won the round robin. And then we're into the playoffs. We just had to win 2 games because we had a bye. And they just went flat. Like, they weren't even their regular selves. Like, I don't know who showed up.
Maybe the coach didn't show up. I mean, you need to fire the coach.
Do I get a good severance package? Can I take the pucks with me?
Yes, that's all you get. Pucks and pylons and a whiteboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? And that's psychology of the players without realizing it. We're thinking that we finished in first place. We've won. Now it's the playoffs. We'll just cruise right through and we'll give you the championship. The other teams with a little bit more adversity that had to work harder to get into the playoffs or harder to get to the finals, this is not easy. No one's going to give it to you. So it's kind of nice to have that adversity. And it's really kind of lends towards becoming more of a championship team or a winning team. So absolutely. So
yeah, I do wish, I agree. I do wish my team had lost a little bit more because I think you learn more from losing. You don't have to lose to learn, but losing is a big motivator, it's a big kick in the seat of your pants in the way that winning isn't.
So Darcy's team, we beat the team that won every game this year. They won every game except the finals. And even the coach, a friend of mine, he says, Dave, I wish we would have lost at some time. Because sometimes the girls played really hard, but they just expected to win. You come to the rink, you've won every game, you just expect to win.
Yeah.
And that happened in my junior year. It was so funny, just playing junior B. And my second year playing junior B, we won 11 straight. And our coach Ray Payne, he came into the dressing room on the 12th game. We're losing 5-0 after the second period. And he came in storming and he says, I am the happiest coach right now. It's about time some other team scored more goals than you guys, because you guys have only been playing one period. I can't wait to skate your skates off next practice. Of course, our captain stood up and he was a leader. Greg Roberts' brother, Gary Roberts, that played professional hockey. And he goes, oh man, guys, we got to do this. Let's go out there. Let's come back and win. And he said a whole bunch of other more things, but we bought into it. And we were playing the first place team in the West. We were the first place team in the East. And then it was 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, 5-4, 5-5. And our coach was synonymous for kicking water bottles when he got mad. And he booting the water bottles all over the bench. You guys, I can't believe you guys. You only play one period. And then and the other team, Henry Carr, who we were playing, somehow shot the puck down and our goalie went out to play it, accidentally went off his stick and into the net. It wasn't by choice, it's just by accident. And we lost 6-5.
Oh,
Yeah, we lost 6-5, but in the final minute, and the coach came in the room and says, see you on Monday for practice. And that was all he said, right? And so we get the practice. And it's a 2-hour practice, and he has us on the red line, the goal line. He says, I'm going to blow the whistle twice. I go, but blow it once to start, and when you blow it twice, you stop. And we all stood there and went, okay. Well, he blew his whistle, and then he threw the whistle into the stands. It was funny. It was a kind of a big Herb Brooks moment. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so we skated. We had 2 weeks of no nets on the ice for practice. All we did was skate. I mean, he came up with more different skating drills. He had the famous lightning drill, red line, blue line, red line. And then you just start making it up. You'd be surprised how many drills you can make up. I want you to crawl on your knees to the first blue line, or I want you to do push-ups all the way down the ice, or, oh my God, you just start making all this stuff up. So anyways, it's lesson learned. So it was good.
interesting. And this is why a coach makes a difference.
It does. You do need a coach. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even at the highest levels.
Even at the highest levels. And what's probably interesting is that all those coaches have assistant coaches. They're probably coaching each other. So, and that's why you need assistant coaches. It's all about the head coach getting feedback. So, and when that head coach needs to be a better coach, you need feedback from someone else. So we're all working together. There ain't one high person on this earth that knows all, and yeah, that's how we are as humans.
And that's why we have these calls.
That's right. That's right.
Another great call, Dave.
Susan, that was fun. That was a lot of fun today. And I really appreciate it and enjoyed it tremendously. And I look forward to the next one too.
All right. So we'll have to do those celebration exercises over the next week.
Yes, I already forgot about that, but thank you for reminding me. I always like these little sticky notes sometimes just to kind of remind me. I'll just write on the sticky note, put it on the calendar, and away I go. So, yep, I will do that challenge. I will do the 1 week challenge, and every day try to find something to compliment.